Just before I start, a few instructions for the webinar. Since I will not be able to see if you are having questions during my presentation, either you write down in chat and Marco will stop me out, or raise your hands and Marco will tell me if there are questions around. Please feel free to ask your questions every moment. The more interactive, the better this is going to be. I organize this webinar in two parts, some theory, some introduction, and then tips and techniques and tools that can help you out in preparing an efficient and good presentation of your solutions. So let's start with the theory and let's understand what a pitch is and why we are pitching. A pitch is a very short presentation of our proposition, of a proposition. And when I say very short, this is something that may go from seconds, 10, 15 seconds, up to few minutes. Usually 3-5 minutes. 5 minutes, it's already a very, very long time. And why we pitch? The main objective is to attract interest on our proposition, attract interest on our solution, not closing a deal. We pitch in order to get attention. We will have time to explain, go in details later on if we managed, if we succeeded to get attention. And this is why this is also called elevator pitch. Of course, in US, an elevator ride takes also several seconds. In our case, an elevator ride, it's 30, 40 seconds. In 30, 40 seconds, we can only attract interest of somebody. And the elevator pitch is something like, for example, the executive summary or the abstract of an article. And again, as the abstract or the executive summary, the main attention is to attract interest, not explain. We will have other tools, other means, other opportunity and occasions to go into details and explain. When we will have, for example, the possibility to send a business plan or an exploitation plan, or to organize a longer presentation and have the opportunity to have a PowerPoint presentation with a more organized and complete slide deck. What are the main features of a pitch, still on the theoretical ground, having in mind that the objective is attracting attention? First of all, I would like to highlight that we face a different challenge of the one faced by the entrepreneur pitching for their startup and pitching for funds. In some cases, we are at very earlier stages. We are a research team. We are not part of a startup of a company. Most of the time, we don't have an entrepreneurial team. So we need to be very smart and leverage on what we have. So pitching our results, pitching our solution means that we need to be extremely convincing about the problem we address, why and how much we are better than others in solving that problem. And this it can be also a way of translating the word innovation. Being innovative means bringing in a novel solution. But a novel solution needs to solve a problem and needs to solve a problem better either than alternative solutions or to provide a solution to a problem which was not solved before. But if we are not better than somebody else, it's totally useless that we develop a solution. Because why somebody should get our solution if there are better ones? And of course, being cheaper is part of being better. So we need to have a clear problem. We need to have extremely clear why we are better than others in solving it. And we need to be extremely clear and sound on validation, meaning data and facts. And then we need to be ready to state what is the value we generate, the gains for our customers, and how big is the market, namely how many customers, how many constituents of our target group we expect to reach out and hopefully convince. So since it's about attracting interest, we need to understand what are the key elements for engaging with the audience, which means that we need to have a sound proposition, not an invention, and a proposition to be sound needs to have the feature I was highlighting before, going from being able to solve a problem to being based on that in fact and being validated. We need to have the right attitude, what I call the entrepreneurial attitude, which means that we need to be proactive, not reactive. And we need to demonstrate that we are able to deliver, to achieve. Of course, we are not supposed to be a one-man band, but we are supposed to be part of a team, a well-balanced team, not just a team with technical and scientific skills, but a team who has all the capacities, competencies to bring our solution to market. Again, AAL is investing in teams who at the end will be market ready with their solution. And last but not the least, we need to have a clear understanding and view of what we need to achieve what we are presenting. A clear view of resources. And resources, of course, are people, but also money. And the opposite of attracting interest is turning off. So while on one side, we need to be extremely conscious in attracting interest, we need to be even more conscious in avoiding to turn off our audience, to turn off the person we are talking at. So first of all, we need to erase from our mind whatever is related to a research project. Research project is the past. Now we are at the stage that we created a result, and a result who is ready to be used. Second point is that we shouldn't show too little ambition. We shouldn't give the impression that we don't want to scale up from the very, very beginning. And when I say scale up, I mean that we don't want to grow and get bigger and bigger. If we have a very good solution, and this is what we all are aiming at, why should I limit the people living in my city or region to benefit from this solution? If this is work, if this works, if this is much better than competition, much better than alternative solution, why other people, other target groups shouldn't benefit? Another element that is turning off the audience is lack of clarity. Lack of clarity that goes from using a jargon to not having clear in mind what will be next. Audience, either they are potential business partners or investors, they need to understand that we have a clear vision of what we are going to do in the next future and how much we need in order to do that. And then last but not the least, in terms of things that turn an audience off, is a lack of confidence, a lack of knowledge on what is outside. Billions of times happened to me, and also happened yesterday. Then when we ask about alternative solutions, we get an answer that says, "None, we are the only one." None, we are the only one is as far as we know. And in, let me say, almost 100% of the time, we don't have a clear picture. We don't know. So my suggestion is, let's be sure that the only thing we know is that we don't know enough, and let's avoid statements that can be destroyed in few seconds by somebody who as job looks for competition. And this always happens. So we need to show confidence, and showing confidence, it also means that if we lack of a piece of information, we just state that we don't have a 100% clear picture. So, grabbing attention is as much important, if not more, than the solution we have in hands and the technology, because in most of the case, the solution is a technology-based. So the question is, why it's so difficult? Why we observe so many failures? And let me tell you, it is difficult. I've seen in many, many cases, and we have seen hundreds of pitches, something which is good, failing because it was not presented as it should. So why this is difficult? For a very simple reason, that the people that studies economics call asymmetry of information, but we that are not scientists call just the presence of two different points of view and two different vested interests, ours and theirs. We, the presenter, and them, the audience, our target group. By definition, because we invested a lot of time and emotions in developing the solution, what we present is the best idea in the world. Then, of course, we know extremely well or the details, the technological components on all the features. Unfortunately, we usually don't know as much in terms of the expectation of the audience, in terms of the needs of our target groups and customers. Moreover, our main aim, final desire and dream is to continue developing the technology. Not, and we should be open and sincere, going to market. So this brings to a very common statement from the presenter. They always complain that there are not enough business partners or investors interested in the best idea in the world. But if you talk to the audience, and if you put your feet in their shoes, then you listen to a different story. The attitude is that this is just another one of the many propositions, of the many results, project results, they have to look at and work with. One of the many. Very little interest about the technology, very much into how the thing is implemented and what is the impact. And for them, impact is mainly related how big is the market, how many customer target group we are going to reach out, how heavy and large is the problem we are going to solve. And the audience is not interested at all in helping us out in developing a successful technology. They just want a return, big return on what they invest, time, resources, money. So if you're part of the audience, you will always hear the following complaint related to the fact that there are not enough projects who are either business, partnership, or investment ready. And our experience is that actually it's real an issue related to the fact that these two sides of the coin are just two sides of the coin, and they're not able to understand that at the end of the day, they are the same coin. I will go to the second part, which is more operational and explains and provides you with tips and tools in order to get a better pitch compared to the past, or to understand how to be more efficient when grabbing the attention of somebody in very little time. A good pitch, as any other thing, is made out of the message, content, how it is organized, structure, and how we deliver the structured content. And the delivery, no matters what, it's also based on three elements, which is the voice, the tone, the visuals, and our body language. Even if we are organizing something online, if there is a camera on, there is a body language. The message. The message is based on one of the first things we learned when we were extremely young, 5 years old, and we attended our first school experiences. And there we learned that any good composition, any good little tale is made of 3 parts: introduction, key content, and conclusions. You will be amazed. Actually, let's put it in a different perspective. For sure, it will happen to you to attend a pitch. For sure, it will happen to you to attend a presentation, especially in scientific environment. You will be amazed how many times this pitch will lack of the third part, the call for action, the conclusion, which reminds us why we are doing the presentation. So in order to come up with a good tale, we need preparation. How do we prepare ourselves? First of all, we need to understand why we do it. This is not just because we want to disseminate or communicate our project. We need to have clear in mind what is our objective, which is strictly related to the conclusions and the call of action. What and why we do it is connected with what are we looking for. What type of are we looking for? A partnership? What kind of partnership? To do what? Or are we going to do the pitch because we are looking for resources, we are looking for money? So how much are we looking for? And again, to do what? And as in any interaction, since we would like to avoid this asymmetry of information, and we would like to be able to provide the audience with the right information, in getting prepared, we need to understand who is the audience. Why they are listening to us? What are they looking for? And how they do screen and assess what they're looking for. And this to try to understand what could be the best way to reach them out, to grab the attention of our audience. And this is important. It's important not to talk to strangers, because at the end of the day, all money is not the same. Money, support, resources, they all have a color, because who is providing them? Our partner has its own expectations, its own requirements, and evaluation criteria. For the ones of you who are familiar with European projects and Horizon 2020, you know that Horizon 2020 at the end of the day called for impact. DG Research expects that we are capable to achieve an impact with our results. For the ones who are familiar with the funding provided by the cohesion policy, for example, ERDF, that stands for European Regional Development Fund, we know that the ERDF calls for employment and new jobs. Investors, especially seed capital, venture capital investors, they call for profit, return. We need to understand their expectations to be able to grab their attention. So once we got prepared, then it's important to understand how to organize the pitch and make it clear. Again, not many slides. Having in mind that if we have to pitch at a pitching event and not just during an elevator ride where there is no way to show slides, we can rely on very little time. 3 minutes, it's already a lot, believe me. So we need to rely on a limited number of slides. 2, make a third person, the audience, understand our proposition, understand what we are looking for, which means focusing on the what, having in mind that we don't want to focus on the scientific or technological content. We need to avoid any specific jargon. For example, not using the European project jargon happened to us billions of times when we suggest to present the team. And if you remember, having a balanced team, it's very important. You will be surprised how many times when somebody has to present a team, they just list the project partners. There is no relationship between a project partnership and a team who is ready to go to market with their solution, even if the solution is the result of a European project. And in this little time, the slides need also to convey information on how we are going to create and generate value, the business model, and to convince that our solution, our proposition is what is needed to solve the problem we are addressing. And of course, again, this needs to be baked with facts and data and validated by customers, the member of our target group, not by ourselves in the lab. So this is a suggestion on how to arrange 9 slides. You will find billions of pitch structure. None is better than the other, as long as we succeed to provide the relevant information our audience needs. What we propose is something that works, is pretty much complete, but of course, there are billions of ways to do this. The first one, it's about introducing the opportunity. This is the first and most important, we will see later on. Then we need to focus on the problem, the unique value proposition, where we are much better than the others in solving the problem. And this also contains information about the competition, and the market that gives an idea how big that problem is. And then we can introduce our solution. Either it is a service, a platform, a piece of manufacture, a device, the whatever, and highlight the unfair advantage. Unfair advantage is something that let people understand how difficult it is for others to copy us. Then it's very, very good to provide information on the state of the art, where we are, where we stand, achievements so far. This is very important because if you remember, being capable to deliver and achieve goals is something that demonstrates also our entrepreneurial attitude. The team, you will be surprised how many times we forget to present our team. That, of course, has to be balanced. And the team happened by chance to be in the center of the overall setup, but it's very good because there is nothing that can work without the right team. So the team is the real core of our proposition. Then we have the business model that explains how we are going to generate value and create value. Then a slide that provides information on projections in terms of economic and financial elements. And then the call to action, what we are looking for, and to do what. And last, but not the least, a slide, a sentence to reinforce the message. Leaving the audience with a good experience and leaving them with a clear idea why us instead of others. So once we have structured the thing, then we need to deliver the pitch. And delivering the pitch is sometimes more difficult than preparing the pitch. Because our audience, they want to see passion. If we are not passionate regarding our, let's say, piece of love, why should they be interested in us? And you will be surprised how many people is not at all passionate or is pretending to be passionate. We need to be perseverant, or to use a fashionable term today, resilient. As not said things go well the first time. We need to keep going if we firmly believe in our proposition, in our solution. We need to be able to show the benefits we bring in, or in bracket, the profits, if we are talking to an audience of investors. And of course, as I said more than once, we need to show in the way we deliver, A, that we are able to deliver, B, we really have the ambition to grow. And ability to deliver is billion of things, including being able to respect time. If we are giving the task to do our pitch in 90 seconds, is because everybody is aware that that pitch can be delivered in 90 seconds. If we are not able to finish in 90 seconds, this is a clear evidence of our inability to deliver. And it's the simplest test that any audience can perform on us. So trying to stretch over time is never a good idea. It's always showing our failure. What is extremely important to know, especially because if you remember from the presentation about the information asymmetry, the audience is overwhelmed by requests of people. They have to screen and look at many propositions. So the very first second or 2-3 seconds are really crucial in order to grab their attention and let them listening to us. And this is even more important today when people is doing this from home, in video conferences, in front of their computer, and just, doing emails while looking at the screen, as many of us are doing now. So the first seconds are crucial to have the audience stay tuned. And we should be able to clearly show the problem, why we solve the problem much better than the others, why we are the right team, and what we are looking for. At the end of this presentation, you will see a link to a video. And you can see how the team pitching delivered this key message in less than 3 seconds. Another important thing is that most of the information we deliver is not on what we say, or better saying, most of the impact we do with our presentation is not related on what we say, but is how we say, the attitude, and what our body language tells. And the way our hands move, the way we look at the audience, the way we hide ourselves behind the podium, the way we hide ourselves behind the computer screen, us talking to the wall, reading the presentation, instead of being able to say things without reading. What impression will you get from somebody that has the opportunity to talk to you and doesn't know what to say and has to read what he is supposed to say? How will you judge that person in terms of capability to deliver, passion? How would you judge somebody that needs to read to be able to convince you about something he has been developing in the last 3 years of his life or her life? So we need to understand that it's not just the content, but voice, body language, eye touch, the way we look at the audience, the confidence we show, which should be the right confidence. We shouldn't look overconfident. Our presence, how comfortable we are, and how we use the space which is allowed to us. Sometimes maybe a good idea just to move a little bit toward the audience in order to talk to a specific person or to give the idea that we are looking for a more close contact. So, just few last highlights. First of all, we should avoid a slow start, which is not just the first 30 seconds, but I would say the first 3 seconds. We just need to say key few things. If something is presented on the slide, we shouldn't read the slide. Audience, most probably, has the right level of education to be capable to read. We can say that we are aiming at the European market or our national market and have all the data related to the market on the slide. So we don't need to devote time to show how the market is segmented because it's on the slide. The audience will know that we understand, that we have the information, that we present the information, and we don't need to read it. Of course, limited time doesn't mean that we need to speed up when talking. Limited time means that we are able to manage our presentation. In most of the case, we will be asked to do the pitch in a different language. So let's try to use short sentences, short and clear sentences. And I know that this is extremely hard for us Italians, because we love to have extremely complicated sentences, but this is not the best thing for a pitch. Since we need to deliver a clear presentation, sometimes it's a good idea also to use pauses. Sometimes silence and showing the slide on the background delivers much more information than just trying to speak over. And then, of course, as I was saying, it's very, very important to talk to the audience, not to the wall, not to the screen where we have our presentation. And last but not the least, actually the most important thing, respect time, because now we understood how respecting time is linking to our capability to deliver. Just to present you few tools which can be used to get prepared and to, let's say, organize the information for the pitch. As Marco was saying, within the AAL to business support for the ones who are part of the AAL program, there are trainings and workshops on how to use these tools. So if you are interested and if you're part of the AAL to business family program, please go and subscribe for taking part to these exercises. Of course, they are free of charge for you. So the first tool I would like to introduce is the Lean Canvas. Lean Canvas is part of the Lean Startup approach. Is from Ash Muraya. It's a tool developed in US for startups. But since startups and developing a novel solution at the end of the day are very similar, this is an extremely powerful tool to collect the information needed to deliver a good pitch. Starting from the problem, highlighting who the problem owners are, the customer segments, understanding who the early adopters are, the ones who feel the problem the most, presenting the unique value proposition, why we are much better than the others, what we offer, the solution, the alternative solutions that are the competition, and then provide information on channels, how to reach out the market, revenues and costs, which means at the end of the day, revenue streams, how we make money, and cost is something that helps the audience to understand what is our financial needs or what we are looking for. Another useful tool, which is extremely good to prepare the first seconds of our presentation, is the value proposition canvas. The value proposition canvas is something that helps us understanding our customer profile. So what are the pains that our target group, our customers, face when performing their jobs, when doing what they're supposed to do during the day? What are the gains they would like to obtain when doing their jobs? And then understanding our solution, how our solution relates to this customer profile with a value map, understanding how we are going to relieve the pain and how we are going to boost, create, amplify the gains. Once this is discussed, brainstormed, validated out of the lab with our customers, with our target group, with our early adopter, then we can use the information to prepare a very short pitch, a pitch in the pitch, that let us state in a couple of seconds what our solution does, who are the ones benefiting, what the benefit and the gain are going to be, and what the competition is. I suggest you to apply this value proposition canvas to your proposition, to your solution. If you do it properly, you will be amazed. We, as an exercise, we take a short movie. We register a pitch before going to the exercise and after going to the exercise, and even without any training, just doing the homework. People get amazed about the result. So here you can find example of pitches. This one over here, it's a very good pitch, and you can see how these guys in 90 seconds are able to say all is needed to be said during a pitch exercise. Thank you very much for listening.